Hello Year 2, let's jump straight into our fluency then. So continuing with our make 10 strategy for subtraction. I'll model the first one and then you can pause the video and have a go at the rest yourself. So starting with 15 and I'm going to subtract 6. Now what I need to do first of all is instead of subtracting this 6 all in one go, I need to think about what I need to subtract from 15 to leave me with 10. Now remember, we like to get to 10 because it's a nice round number. So when we have a number that has 0 ones, it's much easier to work with. So looking at my number 15, I can see that it has got 1 whole 10 and 5 ones. Now to get me to my whole 10 without these extra ones, I just need to take the number of ones away. So 15, take away my 5 ones, will leave me with just my 10. But remember, I didn't want to take away 5, I wanted to take away 6. So I've already taken away 5. How many more do I need to take away to make sure that I've subtracted that whole 6? That's right, I've got 1 more. So what we're doing is instead of just doing 15 take away 6 and counting backwards, which is not a very efficient method, in our heads we're saying, well, 15 take away 5 equals 10, and 10 take away 1 equals 9, because we are now confident with our number bonds to 10. Brilliant, I hope you followed that. Why don't you have a go at pausing the video and trying the rest yourself, and then play it when you're ready to go through the answers. Great, well done Year 2 for having a go at that. Let's go through them. So 15 take away 7. Well, what do I need to take away from 15 to leave me with just 10? Well, I know that 15 has got 5 ones, so if I take those away, that will leave me with 10. But I didn't want to take away 5, I wanted to take away 7 altogether. So I've already taken away 5. How many more do I need to take away? I need to take away 2 more. So 15 take away 5 equals 10, and then 10 take away 2 equals 8. Well done if you got that right. 11 take away 4. Well, what do I need to take away from 11 to leave me with just 10? Well, I know that 11 has got 1 1, so if I take that away, that will leave me with 10. But remember, I want to take away 4. I've already taken away 1. How many more do I have left? 3 more left to take away. So 11 take away 1 equals 10. 10 take away 3 equals 7. Fantastic if you got that one. And 14 take away 5. And what do I need to take away from 14 to leave me with just 10? Well, 14 has got 4 ones. If I take those 4 ones away, that will leave me with 10. But remember, altogether, I want to take away 5. I've already taken away 4. How many have I got left? 1 more to take away. So 14 take away 4 equals 10, and then 10 take away 1 equals 9. Well done, give yourselves a big clap on the back if you got those right. Okay, so today we're going to carry on with what we have been looking at so far. Well, yesterday we started to look at fractions of a number of objects. So hopefully you had some good practice yesterday using whatever objects you had in your house. And then today what we're going to do is we're going to take that and try to show that working out onto a sheet of paper using a bar model. Okay, so just going back to have a look at what we did yesterday. The first thing we need to do is find the whole. We need to identify the whole. So 1/2 of, what's our whole? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I've identified that my whole is 10. I'm trying to find half of 10. Now the denominator shows us how many equal parts there are. So I look at my denominator and I can see that it is 2. So that means there are 2 equal parts in my whole. 1, 2, there we go. Now I need to share the whole equally. So what we're going to do is we're going to take them one at a time to share them. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Excellent. Have they been shared equally? Well, equal means that there would be an equal or the same number in each group. So here I've got 5 and here I've got 5. So yes, I have shared them equally. So now I need to look at the numerator. How many parts do I count? Well, my numerator, the top number is 1. So I'm just going to count one of these parts here. And that will tell me that half of 10 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Why don't you have a go at pausing the video and solving this? Great, hopefully you've had some time to have a go at that. If not, I'll keep the video paused for longer. If you're ready to go through the answers, let's make a start. So first we need to identify the whole, 1/3 of how many chicks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're trying to find 1/3 of 9. So I've identified my whole. Now I need to look at the denominator, which shows us how many equal parts there are. So my denominator at the bottom number is showing me 3. So that means I'm going to have to split my whole into 3 equal parts. So now looking at our success criteria, the next thing that we have to do is share the whole equally. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Have I shared them equally? Well, equal means that there is the same number in each group, and I can see that each one of my groups has got 3, so yes, I shared them equally. Now I need to look at the numerator, which is telling me 1, and this tells me how many parts I need to count. So my numerator says 1, so that means I just need to count one of these parts. And that tells me that 1/3 of 9 is 1, 2, 3. Well done if you got that right. Give yourselves a big clap on the back. Okay, why don't you have a go at this one? And then we'll go through it together. Brilliant, hopefully you've had some time to have a go at that. What I'm going to show you now is slightly different because I'm going to show you how we can turn that into a bar model. So same thing, identify the whole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am looking for 1/4 of 8. Then I need to look at the denominator, which shows us how many equal parts there are. So I'm going to split my whole into 4 equal parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can already see that this is starting to look like a bar model. All I'm doing differently is instead of having my groups all drawn out, I'm just putting my groups right next to each other. Now, when we do a bar model, we have our parts on the bottom and we have our whole on the top like this. Oh, whoopsie daisy. There you go. So now you can see that we created a bar model where the whole needs to go on the top. So what is the whole? Well, we worked out that there are 8 hearts altogether. So our whole is going to go in the top here because this is all of the hearts that we have. There we go. And I can even write it in the top like this, 8, to show me the number that I have in my whole. So now the denominator tells me that there are 4 equal groups. And you can see that here. 1, oh, don't know what happened there. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that there, the number of equal groups that we've got. So now I need to share the whole equally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our whole, I'm going to share them nice and equally between my 4 groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've run out of hearts. I can see that they're shared equally because I've got 2 in each group. So in this group, I've got 2 hearts. In this group, I've got 2 hearts. In this group, I've got 2 hearts. And in this group, I've got 2 hearts. So now I need to look at the numerator. How many parts do I count? I need to count 1 of them. So I'm just going to get 1 of my parts here. And you can see that in 1 of my parts, how many hearts do I have? 2. Brilliant. So we started with 8 as our whole. And if I just remove these hearts now, you can see that we've created a bar model that had 8 as the whole. And then when we shared it into 4 equal groups, each group had 2 in it. So remember, when I'm counting 1/4, I can choose any of those. I could have chosen that one. 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 It doesn't matter because they are all equal as long as I'm just counting 1 of them. So I know it is 2 because the whole is 8 and I split the whole into 4 equal parts and then I counted 1 of the parts. Okay, let's have a look at this one then. 1/3 of, what's our whole? How many rockets do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've identified the whole and I know that it is 6. So our bar model is going to have 6 on the top because that's the whole, 6 rockets. But then how many parts is my bar model going to have at the bottom? Where in my fraction will I need to look to tell me how many parts I'm going to split my whole into? Well done if you said to look at the denominator. So the denominator shows us 3. So how many equal parts do you think will be on the bottom of my bar model? That's right, there's going to be 3. So you can see that here. This is where my whole goes. My whole is 6. And I'm splitting it into 1, 2, 3 equal parts. And you can see that represented on the bar model by these 3 boxes on the bottom. So there we go, the whole, the rockets can go in here. We know that they're going to be split into 3 equal groups because we've looked at the denominator. Now it's time to share the whole equally. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Are my groups equal? Do I have the same number of rockets in each group? Yes, I do. Now it's time to look at the numerator. How many parts do I need to count? Just 1 of them. So how many rockets is in 1 of my groups? 1, 2. So 1/3 of 6 is equal to 2. And you can see that from the bar model. If we take away the rockets, you can see what's the daisy? You can see that we started with 6 rockets, we shared them equally, and we were left with 2 rockets in each group. And then we counted 1 of our parts. Remember, it didn't have to be this one. I could have counted this one. My answer still would have been 2. Or I could have counted this one and my answer still would have been 2. Okay, so 1/4 of how many astronauts? What is the whole? So the whole is 2, 4, 6, 8. So 1/4 of 8 astronauts. So my bar model is going to have a bar on the top for the whole, which is where I'm going to write 8 because that's my whole. And then where do I need to look in my fraction to show me how many equal parts I'm going to share that whole into? That's right. My denominator tells me that I'm going to share my whole into 4 equal parts. So as you can see on our bar model, we're going to have the whole here, 8, and then I'm going to share that into these 4 equal parts that are being shown on the bottom. Let's do that then. 1, oops, daisy, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Have I shared them equally? Do I have the same number in each group? Yes, I do. So I've got 2, 2, 2, and 2. So now let's get rid of those astronauts. So we're just left with our bar model. Now it's time to look at the numerator. How many of these parts do I count? I need to count one of those parts. I'm going to do this part this time. Remember, I could do any of them as long as it's just one. So how many do I have in one of my parts? 2. Well done. So 1/4 of 8. 1/4 of 8 astronauts is equal to 2 astronauts. Brilliant, well done. So now we've got a bar model that does not have any parts in the bottom. So we need to now put the parts in there. So 1/2 of how many stars? 1/2 of, what's our whole? 1, 2, 3, 4, well done. So our whole is there at the top. Now, where do I need to look to work out how many parts there need to be on the bottom? That's right, we need to look at the denominator. So the denominator shows us 2. So that means there are 2 equal parts in the bottom. So when we're splitting something in 2, we just split it down the middle, like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, you don't have to measure it with a ruler as long as they look roughly equal. So then what we're going to do is we are now going to share the whole equally. So then I would have 1, 2, 1, 2. Have I shared them equally? Do I have the same number of stars in each group? Yes, I do. I've got 2 in this group and 2 in this group. So now I need to look at my numerator, and that will tell me how many parts I need to count. Just one of my parts. Remember, it could be any of them as long as it's just one, and I will see that there are 2. So 1/2 of 4 stars is equal to 2. This time we've got the numerator that's changed. So let's have a look at our whole. 2/3 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 astronauts. So on my bar model, I'm going to have the whole at the top, which is going to be 6. And then at the bottom, how many parts am I going to split my whole into along the bottom of my bar model? Well, I need to look at the denominator. So the denominator is the bottom number, that's 3. So our bar model is going to have 3 equal boxes on the bottom. Well done if you said that. The whole on the top is 6, and I've got my 3 boxes ready to share them into. And I know that I had to have 3 boxes because my denominator here tells me that I need to have 3 boxes on the bottom. So now it's time to share the whole equally. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Do I have the same number in each group? Have I shared them equally? Well, I've got 2, 2, and 2. Fantastic. I have shared them equally. So let's get rid of our astronauts now. And now it's time to look at our numerator. Now our numerator now says 2. So that's the number of parts that I need to count. So 1, 2. Remember, it can be any of my 2 parts. It doesn't have to be the first 2. It can be any, as long as it's only 2. So now 2/3 of 6 astronauts is 2 and 2. What is 2 and 2 together? How many is 2 and 2 together? Well, it's 2, 3, 4, isn't it? So 2/3 of 6 is equal to 4. Let's have a look at this one then. So 3/4 of how many stars? What is my whole? My whole is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 is my whole, and that goes in the top of my bar model. Now my bar model on the bottom here is empty. So that means we have to put those parts in. How do I know how many parts need to go at the bottom of this bar model? That's right, I need to look at the denominator because that shows us how many equal parts there are. So my denominator is 4, so that means along here, there need to be 4 equal parts on the bottom. So remember, when we split something into 4 or into quarters, we split it in half first, and then we split this half in the middle, and then we split this half in the middle. So then what you can see by doing half, and then half of a half, and half of the other half, that will leave you with 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I've split my whole I've shown on the bottom of my bar model that we're going to split the whole into 4 equal groups. Now it's time to actually share that whole equally. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have I shared them equally? Do I have the same number in each group? Well, I've got 3, 3, 3, and 3. So I have shared them equally because they all have the same number of stars in each group. So now I need to look at my numerator. So over here, my numerator is 3. So that tells me how many parts I need to count. So I need to count 3 of them. So it can be any 3. So I'll say this one, that's 1. This one, that's 2. And this one, that's 3. So I've got 3 parts here, and I'm going to get ready to count all 3 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 stars. Now there, I didn't take my stars out. I just counted all the stars. But what you could do is if I did take those stars out, I could have said, well, I've got 3, add 3, which is 6, and then add 3 again is 9. So 3 add 3 add 3 is equal to 9. Or 3 3 times, if you know your 3 times tables, is 9. Excellent. So now what we've got is we're going to have a go at doing this without that visual representation. Of course, if you would like to continue using socks or sweets or pencils or whatever it is that you're using to physically share them out, that is fine. And you can absolutely use that at home to support you with this. But I'm not going to use it on here. We're just going to talk about how we might think about it in our heads. So 1/2 of 16. What is my whole? Well done. The whole is 16. And where in the bar model does our whole belong? That's right, it goes on the top. Well done. So 16. So I've identified the whole. Now I need to look at the denominator because the denominator tells me how many equal parts there are. And the parts go along the bottom of my bar model. So I'm going to share this into 2 parts. Remember, 2 parts means half. So when we are splitting something in half, we just go down the middle like this. So now by splitting it in the middle, I've made 1, 2 equal parts. Now we need to get ready to share 16 into 2. Now I just want you to have a think mathematically. What are we doing when we are sharing? What are we doing when we are sharing? Think back to something that we did a few weeks ago when we were sharing into equal groups. Well done if you said that sharing is the same as dividing. So dividing is the mathematical term that we use for sharing something equally. So what we're doing is we are starting with, let me just change my colour. We're starting with 16 and we are sharing it equally into 2 groups. Now, if you're ready for this, remember, this symbol here just means that we are sharing it equally into 2 groups. Now, if you're ready for this, then you can remember that when we are dividing by a number, we can actually skip count in this number to work out the answer. So if I share 16 into 2 groups, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to count in my 2s and I'm going to stop when I reach the number 16. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So if I share 16 into 8 groups, so if I share 16 into 2 groups, how many will I have in each group? That's right, I counted in my 2s 8 times. So that means in each group, I would have 8. Because 16 shared into 2 was 8. So now looking at my numerator, how many of those parts do I count? Just one of them, can be any one of them. So 1/2 of 16 is equal to 8. Brilliant. Okay, so quickly, I'm going to go through some of these last bits. If this is getting too complicated for you, feel free to leave the video here and skip to the bit where I'm explaining the sheets for you. So 3/4 of 16 is equal to, first of all, I need to identify the whole. The whole is 16 and 16 belongs in the top of my bar model because that's where my whole goes. Look at the denominator. How many equal parts am I going to split it into? I'm going to split it into 4. Remember, when we split something into 4 into quarters, we must half and then half it again. And that gives us our 4/4. Now we need to share the whole equally. So 16 shared into 4 groups. Now remember, before we looked at when the denominator is 2, we can use our knowledge of the 2 times tables to help us there. But at the moment, we don't have that knowledge of the 4 times tables. So it's going to be very difficult for you to do 16 divided by 4 if you're not confident with your 4 times tables, in which case we get 16 objects. So we'll get 16 socks, 16 biscuits, 16 pencils, and then we start that process of sharing them out. If you wanted to do this without a physical object, but just by making a pictorial note, I will show you something now that you can do. So 16, we're going to share it into 4 equal groups. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've stopped because I've reached 16, which is my whole. And I'm going to look, have I shared them equally? Do I have the same number in each group? Well, I've got 4 here, 4 here, 4 here, and 4 here. Yes, I do. I've shared them equally because I've got 4 in each group. So now I need to look at my numerator. How many of those parts do I count? I need to count 3 of them. So 1, 2, 3. Remember, it doesn't matter which 3 as long as it is only 3. So now I need to count all these all together. So 4 add 4 is 8, and then 8 add 4 is 12. So 3/4 of 16 is equal to 12. Then we've got some word problems for you. So Amir has 18 sweets. He gives half to his sister Annie. How many sweets does he give away? So again, what is the whole? Identify that whole, put it in the top of your bar model. How many sweets is Amir starting with? He's starting with 18 sweets. So that's what goes in the top of my bar model. How many of his sweets does he give away? Well, he gives 1/2. So sometimes we can see fractions written like this where they're next to each other rather than on top of each other. So that just means that this would be my numerator and this one would be my denominator. So denominator is 2. That means I've got to share it into 2 equal groups. That just means split it down the middle. And then I need to do 18 shared equally into 2 groups. Now what you could do is just like what I did before and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way until I get to 18. But because I know that it's only splitting it into 2 groups, I could actually use my 2 times tables here. And I know that if I have 18 and I share it into 2 groups, I will get 9 in each group. And how many of these halves does he give away? He gives 1/2 away. So the question asks us, Amir has 18 sweets. He gives half to his sister Annie. How many sweets does he give away? I would then write, Amir gives 9 sweets away. And then finally, this is for those of you who are working at greater depth. This is not for everybody. So 1/2 of something is equal to 5. So what we don't know here is the whole. This thing here is a mystery. We do not know what it is. What we do know, however, is that whatever that whole is, it has been split into 2 equal groups. So I'm going to do that down here and show that I've split it into 2 equal groups. We also know that one of these groups is equal to 5. So that means one of these groups is equal to 5. Now, if I know that this group is 5, what must this group be? Well done if you said that it must also be 5, because we're working with equal groups and we're only working with equal groups. So now I know my 2 parts, now I can work out my whole. 5 and 5 together is 10. Wonderful. So I know that half of 10 is 5. Let's have a quick look at this one. So 1/3 of something is equal to 5. Now again, this number here, this whole, is a mystery. We don't know it. But what we do know is that my whole has been split into 3 equal parts. Now, it's quite tricky to split into 3 equal parts. You've just kind of got to try and work it out as best you can. But I've managed to split it into 3 roughly equal parts. And I know that one of these parts is 5 here. So if I know that this part is 5, what do I know about this part? Well done, it's also 5. And what do I know about this part? Well done, I also know that it is 5 because all my parts are equal. Remember, this means 3 equal parts. So if I know that this part is 5, this part is 5, and this part is 5, I can now work out my whole because I know that 5 add 5 is 10, and 5 again is 15. Or going back to using that knowledge on times tables, 5 3 times is 15. So that's what my whole is. 1/3 of 15 is 5. Okay, finally, time to have a go yourself. I know that was a long one, but like I said, we've got loads to fit into this week. And that was your last lesson on fractions. So the circle sheet is very similar to what we were doing yesterday. 1/2 of, work out your whole. How many teddies do you have? Write it here, share them equally, and then write how many you have in one of those groups. And then we're moving straight into the bar model representations with the semicircle sheets. Then we're moving into bar models, but this time the difference is you've got to split it into your own number of boxes. The square sheet is the same as triangle, however, your numerator has increased. It is no longer 1. You will have a numerator of 2 or 3. So you're counting multiple groups this time. Your pentagon sheet is bar models without that pictorial representation. And then you've got a hexagon sheet, which is asking you to work out some word problems. And then the heptagon sheet is some of those last things that we were showing you, where you've got to work out the whole based off one of these parts. Okay, I know that was a lot. You've all done amazing. One more week of home learning and then we're back to school. Well done, everyone. See you soon.